Hi everybody, I am doing a Christmas layout right now, and I know that it's after Christmas, but I like to scrapbook chronologically, so this was the next set of pictures I needed to work on. Right now I'm actually just matting the photos onto black cardstock, and then I'm going to start picking out some papers. A very nice lady gave me the whole City Sidewalks Christmas collection by Pink Paisley, and so those are the papers that I'm going to use on this layout, and pretty much all of the embellishments as well will come from that collection. I narrowed it down to just these few pattern papers that I'm pretty sure I'm going to use, and I decided to go with this pattern, this newsprint type pattern as the background, and then I'm going to use my Perfect Layers tool to mat the photo. And basically what the Perfect Layers does is just make sure that you use the same width for your mat all the way around, and you use the X-Acto knife to cut it. I think I needed a sharper X-Acto knife though. Sorry about my tablet in the background. I recently discovered that I could use my tablet to watch videos on instead of my main PC, which is on a different table, and I always have to turn and look at it. This way I could actually keep going. So I will try to make sure that you don't have to see that though in videos in the future. So now I am just cutting down this paper that has all of the circles on it. The craft background is, or the craft paper is actually going to be that background, and this is just going to be an additional layer. I liked that this piece of paper, and I didn't want to waste all of the middle, so I ended up just cutting out a square out of the center so I could use the outside edges for my layer, and then kept the remainder of the paper to use for something else. Now I'm going to ink the edges of the cardstock and all of the paper and layers in black soot distress ink. Once the layers were all inked, then I went ahead and got out my ATG gun to adhere some of the layers down. And then I'm actually going to take a piece of pattern paper that's kind of striped like a candy cane, and I'm going to use that to fill in the two square sections that are on the top left and the top right of this little block of photos that I have. So just inking the edges of those little pattern papers that I had cut down to fit into these spaces, and I like the way that the candy cane paper looks there a lot better. I'm just using the black ink, or it's actually a felt tip pen, to go around the edges. This is something I do often, and I actually go around the outside edge. It's not going on top of the paper. Now I'm moving on to embellishing, and I have some die cuts that I am inking the edges of. This is the number 25, and then I have some banners that I'm going to ink the edges of, and a tag with black soot distress ink. I've never used a banner on a page before, but I just used some baker's twine and ran it through And then I'm actually going to use some of the baker's twine as well on the tag that I'm putting a clip on. Once I was done getting the baker's twine tied around the clip for the tag, then I pulled out some buttons and started putting them, just around the pages, some on the banners and a little bit on the tag. I decided to outline the numbers on the 25 with a black ink pen just to make them stand out a little bit better. I was having a hard time doing this though because I had burnt my finger, so I think I got off in a couple places, but I still preferred that over the numbers not being outlined. Just using pop dots to put underneath the flag portion of the banner. Then I am also going to use my ATG gun to glue down the tag on the right, and I'm going to put pop dots underneath the number 25 as well. I'm using glossy accents to adhere the buttons down to the page, and then I'm going to take out my Tim Holtz film strip and cut a piece of that, and then I will also use the glossy accents to adhere that down to the page on the right. Using the tiny attacher to staple down the top part of that film strip, and I had to open it up to do it because it was too far in on the page, so now I'm flipping it over to push down the staples on the back. Now I'm just finishing up with a few more embellishments. I'm putting a snowflake that also came from the City Sidewalks collection on the embellishment cluster to the right. I'm going to use some enamel dots on the banner, on the banner, and then I'm also going to use another die cut and a safety pin, which I have not used in a really long time, but I have them still, so I figured why not go ahead and do that. Last thing I did on this layout was to cut out the word Christmas in black cardstock on my Cricut, and then I'm going to place that across the top as the title, and I'm going to outline the edges of all of it with a white pen. And that pretty much finishes up this layout. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.